So another question that we have for you is, what advice would you give a mother who is aware of her teenager's struggle with porn, sex, or relationships?
Has she talked to her daughter yet, or is it just she just found out and her daughter doesn't know?
I will tell you from my experience, I've gotten this call quite a bit working in the groups side. And parents are scared to talk to their kids.
Yeah.
So let's address the mom that knows, and maybe her daughter knows she knows, but there's been no conversation. And I myself had an abortion. I actually had sex with her dad before marriage, but we can't tell her that. So this is kind of the mom that I've run across mostly. There's a variety,
Okay.
but mostly.
Yeah, I think before you ever approach your child, you need to educate yourself on how to have this conversation. And there are, in the world online, there are websites, I won't plug them, I guess, at this point, but there are websites that actually have articles on how to talk to your child about porn, how to talk to your child after they've seen porn, like having the conversation. That conversation is very important because the first of all, you don't want to come at it with a bunch of shame. Like you don't want to come at them like, oh, you're in trouble because you did this. Yes, there needs to be boundaries put in place. Yes, there needs to be a conversation that needs to take place, but you can't come at them with shame. You can't come out at them like you're in trouble for this, because if they never had a conversation with you before about porn or sex and they came across porn online and then they became intrigued by that and hooked on that, is that really their fault?
Right.
They didn't know what they were getting themselves into. So is it really their fault that they're continuing this behavior? And so it's really important that we keep shame on, away from the conversation and really bring it back to what porn is, what porn is not. What is sex, what sex is not. If you're a Christian, from a biblical perspective, what is biblical sexuality, and why is pornography a counterfeit of that? And why is it damaging? And so parents really need to educate themselves on the why of all of this, as opposed to, oh, this is bad, stop doing it. Because just like every other kid, you tell them they don't do that,
Right.
or stop doing that, they're gonna be like gonna keep doing it because they don't have a good reason not to. They haven't been given a good enough reason other than it's bad. Just like purity culture, don't have sex till you're married. We don't tell you why, we just tell you not to. And so it's important that we have conversations about the why and why it's important that we keep that material off, out of your eyes, out of your mind, and out of your heart.
I don't have teenage girls. Well, I do as of yesterday. Ayla just turned 13. But one of my boys, and I have 3, so I won't name any names, just one of them was struggling with not really porn, but Instagram. Those social medias. I don't even know which one it was. But I learned from an officer that I follow on social media to try to figure out how to keep my kids safe, that there's like a little hidden file. And it takes so much brain power. But when somebody can just say, here's the steps, you go in here, you click this, we, like Heather said, we don't know what we don't know. And I was able to see that there was a secret file, but not what was in it. And it was good to just say, can you show me what's in your secret file? No. I'm like, okay, is it something that would be embarrassing? Yes. And so I was able to just say, I can probably yes, because I was a teenager too. And, John and I have been through our struggles, and, but I want you to understand just what happens to our bodies and how this affects relationship. And then at the end, I kind of said, and the reason why God says this about marriage is because he wants the very best for you. And he can see that these are the kinds of issues it would create for you, and he loves you. And so that's why he already knows all this about science. He already knows about this, about addiction. He already knows how this, and so it was, I attempted to wrap God into it in a way that's loving, because he wants the best for you, and he can see this and doesn't want you to stay stuck here, with hopefully out saying like this is a sin. I didn't do that, but we'll see. We have a good relationship, so we'll see how it plays out in another 10 years or so.
Well, and sometimes I think that it's hard, like I said, that parents, sometimes our kids' exposure to pornography is the first time that we have an opportunity to address this. You know what I mean? It's great if you can, like today, parents, I think, should be educating themselves about it. But, my kids are older, they're all adults. But I remember specifically when one of my kids, I get a call from school, private school, and he's being suspended from school because some other boy brought a page from his dad's Playboy and showed him, and then they got caught and they both got suspended. And I remember just feeling a little bit overwhelmed by that, but it also gave me an opportunity to have these 3 days home with my son when the other boys weren't there. And we got to talk about all of it, what he felt, because he also felt angry. And this was his first exposure to pornography, but he felt angry for being accused for something that he didn't do and also being suspended for something that he didn't do. But yet I looked at it as just this divine intervention so that we could have this 3-day long conversation about how this affected him, God's design for sex, why this is harmful to us, what can we do to keep ourselves safe if this happens again, those kind of things. And so, and of course, I didn't handle it perfectly, but I wasn't mad at him, because I clearly knew that this wasn't his fault. He didn't ask for this. He didn't go looking for this. This was something that was kind of forced on him, and it was traumatic to him. And I was so thankful to have that time with him so that we could just kind of walk through what this was going to look like going forward, But a lot of parents don't get that opportunity.
Good mindset to have is think of it as an opportunity after you're able to kind of de-shock.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so this next question I put on here selfishly because recently one of my children, I have 4, so I'm not going to name names, was looking at a YouTube video, which I was okay with, even though, I'm really not okay with YouTube, but I was in that lazy, overwhelmed parenting mode where I'm just gave in a little bit again, going back on my rules. And the YouTube video, they were unboxing something. You know how we used to just say opened like a normal person? They were doing an unboxing. And it was this item that intrigued my son. And it was an anime creature. Like, I don't know if it was a boy, girl, furry, or whatever. It was just this thing, that intrigued him. So then he went to Amazon. And then he looked at Amazon to look this item up, which then brought on a whole bunch of sexual things, which then led him to porn, which my app shut down and notified me right away, but I just see this wormhole that just takes kids from point A to point B and gets them trapped. And then if part of point A is somebody they kind of look up to on YouTube or look up to in a game or, it just seems like our world is so much more complex than it used to be